Okay, so cheers, y'all. Back
Cheers.
to episode 2 of the podcast. Super excited about my guest today, not only because I think she has tremendous amount of strength and insight to share, but also she's one of my very best friends who I have missed terribly during what has been the weirdness of 2020. So it's actually really cool that we get an hour, hopefully to ourselves, to catch up and chat. Fingers crossed, no children interruptions. Natalie and I met close to a decade ago now, and we will talk about the cool story that brought us together. And before I go into today's episode, I actually just want to take a moment before we get started to say thank you to all of those heroes of 2020. I shared earlier showing firefighters out here in California. Both Natalie and I's husbands work on the front lines in the medical field. Natalie's a nurse. But also most recently, Natalie's hometown of Lake Charles in New Orleans was hit with a devastating hurricane. So there's just so much heaviness that's going on right now, but in positive, if we can focus on those who are kind of helping and working so hard to bring communities together right now. And Natalie is a strong New Orleans chick. She is a survivor of Katrina. We'll get into her fun story from that too. A mom to 2 twin girls, a stepmom to 2 boys. She is a Pilates instructor and my ultimate partner in crime. So, Natalie, without further ado, welcome to the 9-Ounce Pour.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Quite the introduction.
Well, you deserve it. And as we start every podcast here, what is it tonight? Is it a 6 or a 9-Ounce Pour?
Very much a 9. It has been a long day, long week. So much needed 9.
Now, is that a Sherwin glass that I recognize?
That is the Sherwin glass. That's the flag glass, definitely.
So Natalie and Scott and I and friends were in Napa, I guess a little over a year ago now, and visited multiple vineyards. I actually had that as a topic to bring up because I was going to ask you, I'm guessing that you're drinking something fancier than the La Crema that Instacart dropped off to me about an hour ago.
Not too much fancier. No, no, no. I am drinking one of your all-time favorites, your favorite happy hour pour, the Miami Pinot Noir.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny because I was talking about the philosophy of, good wine, and you guys do a better job than saving it from us. I was like, oh, it'd be appropriate to drink one of our nice wines that we got at the tastings with Scott and Natalie when we were in Napa, except we finished those about 3 days after we got home from the tour. So those are long.
There you go.
Okay, so 2020, we talked back in March, our families, how it was affecting it, going through some scary times. I want to back up a little bit and start. So your husband, Scott's an anesthesiologist.
He is, yes.
Just like Brandon. And we have a lot to thank them for because they brought us together.
They did. Thank you, boys and regional anesthesia. There you go.
Do you remember what Scott said when he came home and was like, hey, I have a new friend that I think you'll like?
he said, they're definitely dating. And I said, what do you mean they're definitely dating? He's like, we've done this before. I've been them before. They're definitely dating. And he's like, I just see it. I see it. It's just like it was us. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I mean, like, are they cool? Are we going to hang out with them? And he's like, oh, yeah. Totally cool. Yeah.
So backstory, Scott came and took a course at the facility that Brandon was working at the time. And they got to talking and different things. And I met Scott when he was there. He picked up on the connection that Brandon and I had. And then as soon as it was confirmed, Scott was right, that we were dating, Brandon said, "Oh, no, you guys have got to hang out. Y'all are going to love each other." And they've probably slightly been regretting that a little bit ever since.
Maybe so. I mean, it's only like gotten more fun. Well, we can just say that.
Did you or did you not own a Louis Vuitton before you met me?
Did not.
And does Scott
Did
hold
not.
me for that?
Scott, we play the game. What's really funny is when I get like kind of sad and kind of emotional and kind of this, like, and I go in a cuckoo place, I'm like, if something were to happen to me, what would happen? Like, what would you do? And that, and he's like, well, I wouldn't remarry. That's for damn sure. He's like, that's just not worth it. And I said, okay, well, listen, you have to know where the Louis Vuittons are in the closet, hidden in my closet, because you have to give them to Amy and Allie. And he's like, if you tell me where they are, I'm selling them and going on vacation. I was like,
moral of that story, tell me where they're at and I'll come get them and protect them.
You'll protect them and give them to the girls. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
100%. And so we met, we became friends, family super close. Your girls are the same age as our oldest boy, Jimmy, and actually have a really cool story because they were the flower girls in Brandon and I's wedding when we were in Pensacola Beach. And it's obviously super, super special memories. The girls have been the girls I've never had, hopefully, potentially, maybe future daughter-in-laws someday. But
yay,
that was a super fun day. And let's just talk about us being trapped in that 100-degree bathroom with Amy and Allie when we were quarantined upstairs while everyone else was drinking their bushwhackers on the beach.
God bless y'all, because it was not, and they're just sitting there wanting to hit each other with the flower sticks.
Yeah, we had
their bouquet flower sticks.
What I thought would be easier was I thought the flower sticks were a better idea than the bouquets, but that idea backfired.
Oh my God. Yes. No, they loved it.
I'm trying to think. So 2013 is when we were married. 2006 is when they were born, right? So everyone, Jimmy, Amy, Allie, were all 7, 8. Do the math on that one quick. But they were.
Yeah, they were like had just made 7.
Just made 7.
Yeah.
Okay, your math was quicker than mine. So flash forward. So I'm so grateful that Scott and Brandon met. They have supported each other through a lot in regards to anesthesia world and teaching and different things. But I think probably nothing more so than what we've seen this last year with the pandemic and the coronavirus and all of the different things that has transpired in our world since, February. When do you remember a specific moment when you were kind of like, oh shit, like things are different. Things are, kind of the shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So I was at the Pilates studio and I was doing training and I was training clients and I was working with other instructors. And it was one of those things where it was like, they cannot shut the whole city down. Like, that's just ridiculous. They can't do that. That's impossible. There's no way they're going to do that. And then we start getting word like things are closing down. And then we start getting word that school's closed for a month.
And at that point in time, when you're seeing kind of everything shut down around you, is Scott seeing changes at the hospital? Has he started to see?
So we started, I guess, so that was March 16th. That was right around there right around there. It was whatever that Friday was their last day of school for what ended up being the rest of the school year until August. So about a week before, Scott was on night call and I wake up, I realize he's not there, and I wake up and I grab my phone and I see a text from him. And it's probably about midnight. And it's a picture of like Scott in a spacesuit, pretty much. And
Yeah.
it was, "Can I come home?" And I'm like, well, of course you can come home. You live, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then once I kind of woke up and realized what was going on, he had basically, well, he had intubated and started the lines and done everything on the first COVID patient that their hospital had, that his hospital
Yeah.
had. And that was when I was like, ooh, okay, well, he's asking if he can come home. So
Yeah.
something is a little more serious than what we thought it was,
And
sort of thing.
Scott Landry is not an alarmist. Like, he keeps his cool.
No,
Like,
he is the even keel of a household of women. Like,
yeah.
that is what he is.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And he goes, these are all the things I'm going to do. I'm going to take off all these scrubs. I'm going to leave these scrubs here. I'm going to do, all of these things. I'm going to come in through the back door. None of this is going to come inside, kind of thing. Like, I'll basically come in, strip naked because all of you are sleeping, and
Yeah.
go to the shower on the other side of the house and be away from everybody. Okay, that's fine. And so then it kind of like progressively got worse to where it was just, okay, this is more and more serious. And this is
Yeah.
now, and, it was like, well, we probably shouldn't have anybody at our house. We probably shouldn't be around other people or have people here or let the girls have friends sleep over or anything like that, because we know that he has been exposed as much as
Yeah.
he's covered head to toe, and the whole the spacesuit and the N95 and all of that. Just being responsible, it's probably not the right thing to do, kind of thing.
Yeah. And did you
And so
guys
it was.
did y'all have, like, you didn't really have the chance to have the talk about how it would be if it happened. I think Brandon and I got the benefit of it because of how New Orleans was hit. You guys kind of went through a first initial really hard patch first. But after, when it started to get worse, and we can touch on how bad it got, because I know he had some super scary nights. Did you guys have the discussion? Was it ever an option that Scott wouldn't come home, or would he always come home at night? And
I told him, I
just do the
said,
protocol.
because there were a lot of people, there were quite a few people, a lot of ER doctors. And I think it was more of the ER doctors. I don't know. I mean, some anesthesia probably did it as well, but that was an option. I mean, if he felt that it
Yeah.
was bad enough that he needed to protect everybody else, then if that's what he wanted to do, was stay in a hotel or do that or not come home, then that was an option. He could do that. But I think
Yeah.
he felt he used his judgment. And look, it's like he and Brandon and those are some of the smartest guys I've ever met in my life, and
Right.
totally even keel and just really think things through intelligently. They're not going to it's not going to be a rash decision or anything like that. So for Scott to say,
not like they're better halves, right? We don't
exactly,
we don't ever react impulsively.
never. So for him to say, these are the precautions that I am taking, and this is how it's going to play out. And we did. I mean, we talked about it. It was like, are we okay with this sort of thing?
Yeah.
And we did. It was very weird because the girls, even as teenagers, every time their dad comes home, it's daddy and run and find him and want to see him and all of that. And it was like, okay,
Yeah.
you can't do that. You have to. He's got to have space. He's got to be able to go into another bathroom. He's got to be able to, shower and clean up and sanitize and all of that. And I mean, he even went as far as he's like, I want to go to Costco and get like underwear and socks that I can throw away. He's like,
Yeah.
because if I can limit the amount of stuff that I bring home, then I can best protect you guys that way.
Protects, yeah. And it's crazy to think about that. I mean, they were the lucky ones, like the fact that they had the big spacesuits and the protective gear and stuff like that, because for a while when some of the big cities were first getting affected, those doctors were going in with nothing,
with
like
nothing, yeah,
face mask if they were lucky.
yeah,
And Brandon and I had a conversation. So you guys, that was kind of second or third week of March. We were in Florida at the time. We were supposed to fly there literally kind of the day before California shut down. We did fly. It was one of the creepiest things. I mean, San Francisco airport, when you're the only person in line to
with
check
nobody there, yeah.
with no one there, it's like, okay, maybe the world actually really is ending. So we flew across the country. We were then, we stayed in Florida for about a month before Brandon had to come back to work. But we kind of had that discussion. And if you know me, I kind of like force a discussion out of people who don't want to have a discussion. But I told Brandon, I said, we got to talk about this. So you're going back to work. I said, what happens? Like, I don't and want to live apart. You're going to have some really tough days ahead. I want you to be able to come home, lay in your own bed, like feel the love of your family. I think it's super important. But, kind of knowing that although they've been in a profession for years, that so many different people's lives are in their hands, it was kind of weird to see that flipped in regards to the fact that knowing how contagious this disease is and all the stuff that they were not only now there was two lives to balance, the life of their patient and then their own, and frankly those of their family as well.
Yeah. Well, and it was so weird. I think I knew it was really serious when Scott basically said it was really serious, because for a while it was just kind of like, what's this? What's going on? Why is everybody making such a big deal about this? It's just the flu. I mean, come on. Like, what is this? And then when they started getting patients and he started seeing patients, and it came in and it got bad, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
And when he was like, this is no joke kind of thing, then I was like, okay, well, now maybe I should take this a little more seriously, and this is no joke. And it was kind of one of those things where it was like, I hate to say there's no way to protect yourself or to prevent it or whatever, but it was like, you don't know what makes it choose one person or the other. You don't know why some people get it and they're asymptomatic, and you don't know why some people get it and they're not alive anymore. It's just, you don't, and you do know that comorbidities play a factor and all of those things, but it's just so strange and so unsure, and
it's totally unpredictable. And I think I follow Amanda, who lost her husband Nick to it. He was a Broadway performer. She does a lot of online workout classes. Healthy man, 1-year-old son. To perform on Broadway, you've got to have some of the healthiest lungs that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, he was 40 years old.
40 years old. But she's a motivation to me each day, because I'm like, okay, if she can still post a positive thought of the day, going through everything that she's gone through the last 6 months, then surely I can get through another day at home with my toddlers.
I can power through. Yes. That's what.
Toddlers, teenagers, whichever one is being the
bigger pain that day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, lighter topic.
Yes.
Rise up, go Falcons.
No. Who dat? Go Saints. Even though, I will say this, even though right now it is a total battle in our house, because Scott is die hard. I mean, football, Saints, everything. But he wants football to just be football. He does not want football to be political. He does not want it. He wants football to just be football. So because teams have gotten political and everybody's taking their stance on everything, he's like, we're not watching football. I was like, what do you mean we're not watching football? He's like, we're not watching football. We're just not. And he's like, and if LSU does this, we're not watching college football. I was like, look, you know how much we have lost in 2020? You know how much has been taken away from me? You cannot take away football. This is the one thing I'm holding on to right now.
That's okay.
Don't take away football.
Right. Do not take away. And that answers my question if you guys would go to a game at this point in time and where you're at, or just
we would. Well, they're not allowing.
Yeah,
they're not allowing fans right now. Our state is supposed to be going into phase 3 tomorrow. Louisiana's phase 3 tomorrow, but New Orleans is not going into phase 3, which is kind of crazy because we were talking about it. The Saints are scheduled to play the Buccaneers, Tom Brady, in the Superdome Sunday. And Gronk, Brady and Gronk in the Superdome on Sunday. But technically still in Orleans Passion in New Orleans, there's no contact sports.
Okay.
So
how's that happening?
How is that happening?
Right.
Yeah. So I have no idea. I think we have flown since we've flew to Chicago and back. We're going, I'm going to the beach. I've driven to the beach, and we're driving to the beach with the girls and some friends in a couple of weeks. We go out and we go out to eat and we do things, and it's fine.
It just kind of gives you a whole new weird perspective, because I honestly don't necessarily see how life completely goes back to normal after
normal.
This,
No, and it's funny because
normal is.
We've had birthdays. Like we've had our son Hill was in April. I was in May. The girls were in August. And my dad was in July. But and it's been like, oh well, no, you can't have candles. You can't blow you can blow on a cake. Like, are you kidding me? And Hill was over here the other night, and we were watching some sort of food show or whatever. And he was like, I get so I just cringe now when I see these people licking their fingers on TV shows. He's like,
don't go to Hooters with Brandon. You don't
he's like,
finger licking.
He's like, all I think of is, oh my God, don't put your fingers in your mouth. Don't do that. And it's just so weird because it's like, it's not anything you would ever have thought of before.
And it's interesting because as nurses, and I will totally speak for you, but for me as a nurse, obviously it's kind of something we maybe should have been thinking about before. The fact that we let 16 kids blow over, 10 birthday candles over a cake, probably not the most health conscious.
Because the majority of them are probably spitting on the cake. Let's go ahead and be honest with each other.
Yeah, exactly. So, but now, to Hill's point, I see it. It's I see, you can almost see the little particles outbreak style, floating into there to you. Okay, so Hill's a super amazing human. You have 2 stepchildren, like I do.
I do, yes.
I don't, and I think both you and I agree upon it. I don't ever like to kind of classify them or divide them out like that. Only in respect to, their biological mother, obviously, in regards to, not to confuse people that they're not all for, that we share the race, but it's never anything. I don't view my love for them is not anything different. Actually, I credit Jimmy Evans. They made me a mom first,
Yeah.
I joke all the time. I was like, I get to love them the same. I just didn't have to labor them, which is, bonus.
Exactly.
But obviously not always been easy. Kind of what's your advice to co-parenting? So when you and Scott were married, how old were Hill and Patrick?
So when Scott and I started dating, Hill and Patrick were 7 and 10. Patrick had just made 10. Hill was 7. They are now 24 and 27.
That's crazy.
So it's been a long time. Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
almost made
And to
it. Like
think
I
we are
said, Hill
all
can
still
tell.
alive. Everybody made it.
And
Everybody
the
has
fact that
made it. Yes.
everyone has made it, and y'all have a relationship with them that they'll come over and watch shows on the couch. And so I think that
Oh
that's
yeah.
not only surviving, that's, thriving
Oh,
through it. And
absolutely.
I know that you guys have fought for that too. I mean, it's nothing that comes
Yeah.
easy.
No, 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 not at all. So Patrick lives about an hour from us. So we see him less than we see Hill. He graduated from LSU. He works in construction management in Baton Rouge. Hill is here in New Orleans, lives literally 2 miles, if even that, down the street from us. He works in the film industry. He is a PA in the film industry. He is also an amazing artist and does murals.
Oh my God, his
Private
murals are
murals for
so
people's
epic.
homes. And then he's done some distilleries and some buildings and things like that around New Orleans. So he's crazy talented. And so we see him more often, and he laughs. He loves the calls of, "Hey, I'm cooking. You want to come to dinner?" And so he jumps in, and most nights that something is offered to eat, he'll jump on over and do that. But he is pretty even keel, and loves to just chill out and jokes with his sisters and things like that. But it was a long road.
He reminds me a lot of Scott's personality, though,
Yes, he is
with that
very
like
dry.
chill.
Yes, very chill, very dry, really quick-witted. He and Allie our youngest are a lot of the same. They both have a really dry sense of humor, are very quick-witted, just naturally funny humans that both Scott and I have said ever since they were both little, like, we should have written a book with just their quotes in it, because anytime something comes up on like a Facebook memory or something that's a quote that they have said, I mean, we're dying laughing, because between the two of them, they're pretty funny.
Okay, you gave me the perfect intro. I have two quotes from your daughters.
Oh,
Will you be
geez.
able will you be able to guess which one is which? So,
Maybe. Let's see.
okay. So, first quote. My favorite thing about my mom is that she makes good food. She has pretty good taste in clothes, except when she doesn't. The most annoying thing about her is whenever she yells at us. Her favorite thing to do is Pilates. She's proud of us when we do good at school. And whenever we want to get new clothes or getting rid of clothes, that pisses her off. So that's option one.
Okay.
Okay, so then we got option two. Most annoying thing about her probably is she's always super on top of us about everything, which, side note, that's one of my favorite things. Why your mama inspiration there. But she also doesn't let me go out with my friends, even when I clean my room, do my homework, and do my laundry. Favorite thing about her is that she knows a lot of 90s and 2000s rap. She thinks she's legendary, LOL. I also I also really like that she works so hard for us and does almost everything for us. Her favorite thing to do is Pilates and stress bake. She she also likes to cook and try new recipes. What makes her most proud is when we do good in school or soccer. She likes to brag about us. Ha ha. Something that we do that pisses her off is probably not to do our homework or not to study. She also doesn't like when we buy shorts that are too small. That's option 2. So can you name the daughter?
Yes. Number 1 is Allie. Number 2 is Amy.
Yes. Did the shorts comment give it away?
Okay, so 1 is she makes good food. That is Allie, 100%.
Yes.
Amy, so last night when I was driving them home from soccer, driving carpool home from soccer, and this morning, the exact same Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg song came on, and I was rapping it, and Amy and Allie were dying laughing. Amy more than Allie. And so Amy was like videoing me rapping Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. I'm such a wonderful influence on my children.
I actually think it is. You're legendary now.
I'm legendary, obviously. She is very right with the stress baking. And it goes with Scott will come in. It's kind of a joke now. He will come in and like, depending on it has been baked during the day, if it's multiple loaves of something, if it's like dozens of cookies or cakes or whatever, he's like, who's in trouble? What did they do? How bad is it? Is it 1 loaf or 2? Like that's his thing, sort of thing. Or whenever like it's a football game or something like that and it's super stressful, I'll go in the kitchen and I'll start cooking something or making something or baking or whatever. And he's like, pauses the game. Can you stop, please? Yeah. You're now stressing me out. I was like, no. This is how I get my anxiety out. Like, just keep watching. Let it go. Just keep watching. Come on, we can do this.
Ignore my hurricane here in the background over here.
Exactly. Just watch over it. And then the shorts is the fight at our house right now is the length of Lululemon shorts. Because we have ordered, I don't know how many pair of Lululemon shorts recently. And when they come in and I look at them and go, guys, come on. I cannot in good faith let you walk out the house looking like that. Like your father would kill me. If you look through the window right there, do you see him?
Yeah.
Scott is just getting home from the hospital and is now snooping on my front porch window. Let's turn for him.
Hi, Scott.
He's waving to you. Yeah, so that is.
Well, it's so funny. So when I was texting with the girls trying to get, the scoop on you, and Amy said that, I died laughing. I said, but y'all are going to run cross country in college. I just know it because they're like my future. Like I live vicariously through them and their cross country training. I said, wait till you see what you run in college. It's like underwear. Your dad may not be able to actually sit through a cross country meet.
So maybe the Lululemon shorts are somewhat appropriate. I don't know. That's still a battle. We've literally gotten like, I don't know how many pair in, eight pair in recently. Can
you see the photo I sent them? That's what like the Division I.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Runners running. So the Lulu's may be a good way to ease Scott into it.
To ease Scott into that. Jeez Louise. Yeah, I know.
But it was ironic, and we can touch on that too, because y'all are Catholic. The girls go to Catholic school. I went to Catholic school all my life until I went to college. So it was so crazy for me to have the experience of having literally my skirts measured if they were half an inch above the knee. I went to college and it was like, oh wait, I'm running in these like brief underwear in front of everyone.
We've been in school less than a month. Both of my children have already gotten marks, like administration marks for their skirts being too short.
Now, are they rolling?
I'm like, guys,
that's my trick.
They roll them. They wear them high on their hips. They, whatever. And I was like, look, and this is my thing that I tell them. I said, if you're going to get a mark for something, do something fun. Like make it memorable. Have a story to tell. Don't get a mark for uniform. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. Now, Mama they're just trying to show off those strong legs that you've made them create, right?
They go to an all-girls school. I mean, who are you showing some leg to, really? Come on.
Like, why are they robotic?
Like,
Something that
like,
they do to it's just it's just a thing.
it's just a rebellious thing. It's a bucking of authority. That's what it is. And
But
it's not just mine, it's all of them do it.
well, and funny enough, actually, I think as females and women in general, we dress or show off more for girl to girl. Like I appreciate, look, I put these fun purple highlights in my
I
hair.
know, I love
Um,
those.
don't get any ideas. It's not for the tigers. I could be swayed, but it took Brandon like, I don't know, a day and a half to notice. I
To
mean, so
recognize it. It's like your
let's
wife's
be
walking
honest.
around with purple hair, but
What
okay.
else? Hashtag 2020. Like things get weird. Um, but that being said, obviously if you or any of our girlfriends had been in here in the house, they'd be like, Emily, like, what's the deal with your purple hair?
I like the moment you walk in, like you wouldn't even get out the car. I'd be like, "What's up with purple hair? Come on."
Yeah. So I think it's in that regard, girls do,
3 days
whatever.
later, Brandon's like, "When did this happen?"
Yeah, what happened here? Like nothing. Um,
Okay,
okay,
Luke.
so harder, yeah, still not, knock on wood, still quiet. Um, harder, maybe raising teenage girls or teenage boys, or different.
Girls.
Yeah.
It's different, but I would say girls. And I laugh because we have a friend who they have boy, and I never would have thought of it this way before, but after he told us, I was like, oh, that's definitely it. He had boys and then a girl afterwards. And he said, when you raise boys, you worry about one penis. When you raise girls, you worry about all of the penises.
Yes.
And it's definitely true. I mean, you worry, like raising girls, you have to worry about who they are and how they portray themselves and what people think about them and how they dress and how they act and that, because it's just people talk
Yeah.
and they could say things and spread rumors and talk about, and just, and it couldn't even be true. And it could
Yeah.
be like, oh my God, look what she was wearing, or look how she was dressed. And that's all about, how you portray yourself. And it's just hard, and it's just, and then you have to worry about, are you putting yourself in a position, with boys, or are you being convinced of things with boys? And so Amy and Ellie will tell you I am very, very strict and very on top of things, and but I would
Yeah.
prefer to just protect them than to let something
Happen. Absolutely. And we've talked about that with our older boys in regards to, the situation, because you have the girl side of it, of, things that happen, and then you have the boy side of it. And it's a weird kind of world that we're living in right now. Like you have to be careful of situations that your kids get themselves into, because so much now is out there. It's on social media. It's his word versus her word versus all of those things, which is never a road that hopefully we'll ever have to go down.
Yeah.
But as soon as someone thinks they're taking a funny photo of someone or recording something funny, I mean, it's great. Like, thank God for technology. We're getting to do this together tonight. But I mean, I didn't have a smartphone until I was almost graduated nursing school. Like I didn't have a way to take pictures or do videos. And now all of,
Thank God.
right? Yeah, thank God. Thank God. No truer words have ever been spoken. Yes, thank.
And thank God there was no social media either.
Right? Yeah, and thank goodness there's shitty service in Napa.
There you go. More power to you right
What
there.
what what stays on the Sprinter is there for life.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is a big difference, and in that regard. Okay, switching back to, we talked earlier about Scott keeping his cool. I was trying to remember, and literally when I was planning for this podcast, I was trying to think, what was the event I left our tickets at home?
The taste of the NFL.
It was the taste of the NFL. Good. I was hoping that that would go into it. So super cool event for those who are listening. And again, like Megan and I talked about last week, who knows, maybe one person listens, two people, whoever. But if anyone's listening,
all of the cool people
are listening. We went to an amazing event. Taste of the NFL, it's something that they've done. Again, who knows what will go on in COVID. Hopefully they can do it virtually. But whichever city is hosting the Super Bowl, they do this event, and then all the money that's made gets donated to the local city's food bank. So the 49ers were in town playing. Were they playing the Saints?
Yeah. Who did they play? No. So they were in. So it was the last time New Orleans hosted the Super Bowl. The Niners were in the Super Bowl. The Niners and I don't remember who they played.
Is it the last time they hosted because the power went out in the stadium?
That could be it too. But so it's an event that it's hosted in the town of the Super Bowl. All 30. How many teams are there? 32 teams. 30. Yeah, something like that. However many NFL teams there are, they every team has a chef or like a dish that is served by a chef, and the chef is there, and then they have some sort of professional from the team, whether it be a retired player, someone in management, somebody like that people know.
And the cool thing is the chef is local. Like, so let's say it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why did I say that team? I hate the Steelers. But anyways, let's say it's them. That it is a chef who's local to Pittsburgh and a player
that they bring
down a connection to Pittsburgh.
To that team. Yes, correct.
So we had tons of fun. But to backtrack on that, we're getting into the car. We're there. We've made the road trip with all the kids, all of them little at the time. And we get into the car, and New Orleans traffic is not the most terrible, but a harder city to navigate traffic wise. Y'all were a little bit outside the city, and we're maybe like 10 minutes to the event, borderline late because I was probably taking too long to like straighten my hair, do anything else. So we get close, and Brandon or Scott, I can't specifically remember, is like, you got the tickets, right? And I'm like, no. And I still remember Brandon being like, you're joking, right?
Brandon kind of lost it.
He lost it. And cool as a cucumber, Scott's just like, dude, we got to go back.
It is what it is. We're not getting in.
So I'm glad we went back because, and I'm going to tag Morton Anderson in this podcast. Maybe he'll tune in and listen. We had an amazing time at the event, and we met Morton Anderson that night. We were Scott and Brandon were trying to
former Saint and former Falcon.
So one thing that Natalie and I can both agree upon: Golden Foot for Atlanta. I think just as good for the Saints. Hopefully not. Yeah. But so good. So
pretty good.
And he invites us to the Super Bowl the next day.
And Brandon goes, well, why are we going? And it was like, it had gotten to the point of the evening where then you had to explain it to Brandon, like, no.
Meant.
You weren't invited, Brandon. We were invited.
Yeah.
Not you.
Natalie and I we're just gonna head up to Morton Anderson's box and watch.
Peace out, guys. We're just gonna go to the game.
So we were very good wives. We politely declined
the invitation to the Super Bowl, yes.
But still a super fun encounter. And then our other fun encounter, which you have to remind me of his name because I kept forgetting. Who's our friend from Commander's Palace?
Oh, Chef Tori McPhail.
Yes.
Yes.
And so, admittedly, Natalie knows and does way more with food than I do, but Tori is a chef at one of the favorite restaurants in New Orleans. And so she kind of had like oh yeah, Tori is here representing New Orleans. We got to go see him. We got to get our picture. And so we get in line for his station. We eat our little bite and we're like, can we get a photo? And one of the funniest things of Brandon's life is when he tells the story all the time. Natalie and I are standing there with Tori. He's like, hey, dude, do you mind taking my picture as well? And Brandon's like, yeah, sure, what? And he takes his cell phone out of his pocket and gets
And
a
wants
picture
a picture with his cell phone. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Scott to this day is still like, what do you think he's doing with that picture? I'm like, I don't know.
Who cares? It doesn't matter. We're famous.
Yeah. Tori may recognize us.
Maybe one day.
Okay, I want to touch on, because before we run out of like too much time.
But the best part was and Scott is not one to ever have too much to drink. But as we're leaving there, and there's like all sorts of bottles of wine everywhere, just like full bottles of wine everywhere.
Oh my God,
so
I forgot
Scott decides that he's taking the wine home, all of these bottles of wine. So he starts like holding bottles of wine. Yeah, it was really good wine. And there's like all these unopened bottles of wine. So he starts holding these bottles of wine in his sports coat. And we go, and we had hired a driver, obviously, for that night. And so we go and we get in our car, and we're bringing everybody home, and Scott's doling out bottles of wine. Everybody, it's like Oprah, you get a car, and you get a car, and everybody gets a bottle of wine. And as the driver is dropping us off, and y'all are picking up y'all's kids, because my parents had kept them at our house, or at our apartment at the time. Y'all were picking up the kids. He goes to give the driver a bottle of wine, and then his bottle of wine drops and breaks on the ground. And he turns around to the driver and takes the driver's, and he's like, sorry about that, dude. Got to take this one back, and walks away. And I'm like, the poor driver's like standing there like, dude, I had just made a good bottle of wine out of this deal, and now it's gone.
And that right there is reason number 3042 that I love Dr. Scott Landry. I'm going to just need that back, dude. Sorry.
There you go.
And probably him and Brandon thinking, because our wives are going to be really pissed if we show up in his house empty-handed without another bottle of wine.
Without another bottle of wine. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Speaking of interesting cocktail experiences. Oh, I wanted to get to the potty stink, but I'm gonna touch on this real quickly first, because again, the experiences that our husbands have gotten us into. So take yourself back 6 years. We're in the back bowls of Vail, Colorado, with Han. So Natalie and I are new-ish skiers, consider ourselves fairly athletic. I mean, we can hold our own.
We can hold our own, yeah.
What the hell did they sign us up for that day?
But we have not been skiing like forever, like our husbands have. They both, Braden's has skied the majority of his life. Scott started skiing, I think, as a young child, teenager kind of thing, and it would go annually. That's a big thing in New Orleans. Because we have Mardi Gras, and we have Mardi Gras break in February, the kids have a decent chunk of time, like a little over, about 10 or 12 days off of school consecutively. Yeah. So a lot of people leave and go. Yeah. That's usually when we take our kids skiing, or we'll go. Yeah, or we'll go somewhere. I mean, once you've done Mardi Gras once or twice, you've done it. You're kind of over it.
Yeah.
So he has skied. I did not learn to ski until I was an adult. So then we get the back bowl of Vail.
And let this be known that for any of those who are not skiing, so you have like the hard mountains on the front, the hard runs that obviously are a little bit already. Natalie and I were like, okay, this is a little bit tricky. But then we're in the back bowl of Vail, which is like kind of like the uncharted territory. Our ski instructor, stereotypically named Hans, if that is truly his name. Shout out Hans.
Hans and Vale.
Hans and Vale. And all I remember him telling me is you're going to have to open your eyes to go down this hill. And I was like, but I don't want to. And I'm literally grasping to the back of his thing. Natalie was doing better than me. The first place we got to like a little stop that had a gondola, I was like, put me on that thing and get me to that base of the mountain where the margaritas
my favorite
are served.
part was whenever you. That's it. I mean, your knee was bothering you. It was rough, and it was actively snowing, and
That was true, yeah.
it was rough, and
You
we were fine.
Literally could not see anything.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, you know. But my favorite part was when you took your skis off, you picked them up, and you said, "I'm walking down the mountain," and he said, "You can't walk down the mountain," and you said, "Watch me," and you started walking. And he said, no, I'm going to have to get ski patrol. I'm going to have to, what is it? And you were like, you do what you got to do, but I'm going. And you started walking, and they were like, okay, well, we will put you on the gondola going the opposite way, because it wasn't one that like you naturally rode down. And he's like, we'll put you on it going the other way, but you cannot walk down the mountain. It's just not
down the mountain.
It's just not safe. Yeah. So I did the honorable friend thing with you because I was about to die also, and rode the gondola the wrong way down the mountain to the margaritas. And then we sat and had margaritas and let the boys finish skiing the back bowls of ale and have their fun with Hans. And then we had a great dinner that night. I went to the hot tub in the snow and then had a great dinner.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So many fun memories. Okay. Pilates. So your stuff. So I love the quote. I'm mad at myself for not screen capturing it to create it, but it talks about strength through hard times and kind of like what that makes you as a person. And I think, especially during COVID, strength physically, strength mentally. Obviously, Pilates is one of those things that is amazing for both. It literally cured my back pain when I was pregnant with Charlie. What your take on kind of like what made you get into it? Like, why make that kind of like your gift to the world? What made you become passionate about that?
So probably Amy and Allie were close to a year old, or they were about a year, maybe 18 months, something like that. And we were living around New Iberia. So Hurricane Katrina had happened, and we were here in New Orleans, and we had to evacuate. My parents live around Lafayette, and so we ended up going live over by them, which is about 2.5 hours west of New Orleans. We lived there. Scott got a job at a hospital there, and we ended up staying there for about 7 years or so. So Amy and Allie were born over there in Lafayette, and we were
that's where you get your foot-long steps when you were pregnant. Your preggo step.
Yes. That's where I would get. It was actually in New Iberia, and I would call Scott. I would call Scott at the hospital. It was a little restaurant called Bon Creole in New Iberia, Louisiana. And I would call Scott at the hospital, and I would say, I need a full seafood po' boy. And he would go, no, that's true. I'm like, no, I want a full seafood po' boy. And if you want one, then you need to get one for you. But this is what I want. Because I wanted food when I was pregnant. Like, that's it. I wanted a meal. I wanted food. So we were there. The girls were born. When they were starting kind of like a little pre-K 2 sort of program. They started, and one of the girls she's been a friend of mine. Her little girl was in the class with them. Her sister-in-law had a Pilates studio in New Iberia. And this is like a small town to have something like a Pilates studio, but she was a physical therapist.
Say that at that point in time, I hadn't even heard. It's obviously become a lot more.
So it's come more again now. So this was The girls are 14 now, so 12 years ago, something like that, maybe a little bit over that. Um, and so her sister-in-law was a physical therapist who had started a Pilates studio, and she was like, "Come try this out." And I had always done aerobics or running or everything, just stayed physically active.
Yeah.
And so I tried it out and loved it. It was strength training, it was stretch. I was a dancer for probably my entire life. Danced ballet, did a dance team. I mean, I was in the Nutcracker, I was in Capelia. Yeah, probably three years old until I was 18. And so it reminded me a lot of things that were similar to the training from ballet. And I just really enjoyed it. I liked it. And it wasn't super high intensity. And, I could do it and feel something out of it. And then I could go about my day and I could do other things. And so
honestly,
I did that.
Not to interrupt, I talk about like interrupting with my personality type, but I do think, just to say right there, that Pilates has been one of the things that I've done that you see the biggest change in your body very quickly in regards to like the strength and toning and stuff that it does, posture, all of those things. Like,
you do, definitely.
I was shocked at how quick that happens.
If you do it consistently, yes, you will definitely see those changes. So that was kind of my first introduction to it. And I consistently did that when we were in New Iberia. When we moved back to New Orleans, I kind of couldn't figure out where I wanted to go. I had tried one studio and it was really kind of pretentious. And I was like, I don't really like it here. I was just uncomfortable.
Because you got to feel comfortable in it. I'm putting on my glasses from the computer.
Yeah, no.
But you have to feel comfortable in it and with your instructor to kind of.
Well, you have to feel welcome and you have to feel, be able to feel like you can be vulnerable in that. And so it wasn't good. So I started running more and high intensity interval training, and I love it. And I still love running to this day. I don't do it as much as I used to because I was running so much that I ended up getting a back injury. So that was probably 4 years ago, something like that. I injured my back, and one of the girls who was an instructor at the high intensity gym that I went to, she was also a Pilates instructor. And so I went and started working with her a little bit and like really fell in love with it again and really understood it more. I think just kind of, as you grow up, I understood kind of the mind-body connection. I understood how to engage my muscles differently. There's some pretty extreme anatomy understanding that goes on with it. Like,
yeah,
oh, absolutely.
And whereas Pilates builds up, I think, your muscle and your strength and stuff like that, because I've had the same reaction with running. Running, it's good, it's an endorphin release, but it's hard on your joints and your muscles.
It's hard on your joints, it's hard on your back. It's not, So,
frankly, probably not good, Like, if you can get your cardiovascular workout somewhere else.
Otherwise, yeah. So I just kind of fell in love with it again and really got kind of immersed in it. I was consistently taking with her, and then I would start to be a test body. So it was the studio that I now work for. It's called the Pilates and Yoga Loft it's in Old Metairie, so in Metairie, little suburb of New Orleans. It is all 600-hour power Pilates trained instructors. So every instructor there has either gone through a 600-hour power Pilates certification, so you can feel secure that they know anatomy, they know how your body works, they know why it works that way, they know the safest ways to help you have a movement experience. So they are either 600-hour trained or they are a Pilates apprentice, which is going through the 600-hour comprehensive training program. So as I was working with this other instructor, I became her test body for finishing up her certification. And then I would be test bodies for other people for their training. And then the owner of the studio was finally like, so I'm starting a training in September and you're going to do it, right? Like you have been you've been enough test bodies. You can, you're familiar with
you want
this.
to know a crazy thing? And at some point in time, I'll have like a fact checker, maybe on the podcast if anyone ever listens. But interesting fact. So 600 hours is yours. What will be the max hours that you get?
So you do. So right now I have done a 300-hour test out. I have a 400 and a 600-hour comprehensive test left. And I'm hoping to complete it. If COVID would not have happened, I would have probably been done by September, October. Hopefully I will be completed by the end of the year for 600 hours.
What would you guess, if you had to guess, is the mandatory amount of police training that a police officer needs?
I have no idea.
Not much more, only 664 hours is what they get right now. So, and I think that probably, and I'm not getting political in this, but I think it's just important to recognize that the connection that I think Pilates does so well, which is the mind-body connection, and being able to calm yourself down in stressful situations, or take care of yourself when you know that you need it, or and continue to build strength with it. I liked Pilates because it was a good combination between running and yoga. Like I cannot turn my mind off in yoga. Like for what it is, like yoga to me, I just like sit there and think like, what the F am I doing? But Pilates,
what do I have to do next? It's hard. And I have tried yoga over the past year, I think, for the first time. Like I had never done, there was two things I've never done, was yoga and spinning. Still have not done spinning. Never taken a spinning class, never gotten on a spinning bike, but I had also never done yoga. And so I did yoga for the first time, and I enjoyed it, but I'm like you. I enjoy it for the stretching aspect of it and for things like that. And I'll do like a yoga with weights. And so it's like very light, 1-2 pound weights, maybe 3 pounds at the most sort of thing. Super light, but like, I'm not turning my mind off. Like, that's just not going to happen. It can't. I got too many things going on. I'm trying to balance too many people's schedules to turn my mind off. Like, that doesn't happen.
I can't do it. I'm with you on that one. But I think Pilates is the perfect balance because of that. To reference another friend who does, I think you follow her, Lauren. She does like the Legs by Lauren.
I love
them, and I love them for a way that you probably are going to love them. And we can start wrapping it up on that, is that they are two career-driven, motivated, healthy life-focused people. Her husband, Dr. Neinstein, works in the city as a plastic surgeon. I followed him for a long time, starting when he started using one of the local anesthetics that we used. And then him and Lauren have met and created a beautiful family, and just incredibly supportive of each other.
Absolutely,
and they both have busy schedules, which is what you talk about, like balancing a calendar. Like, so nurse, doctor, stereotype,
It is what it is.
And Lauren's not a nurse herself, but I think it's incredibly uplifting to see couples support themselves in what they kind of like dream up and want to make happen,
Oh, absolutely.
And
I laughed the other day. We had it was different nurses that I work with. I mean, younger ones who have just started doing like some PRN hours at the surgery center with us, and they
Wait,
were talking
pause
about.
on that. Pause on that. Have we become officially the older nurses?
I've been a nurse for 17 years now. I
Okay,
feel like I am an older nurse now.
I'm
I don't want to
11
be an older
in.
nurse now, but
That's where we're
I'm
at.
getting to that point. I try
Yeah.
not to be, but it's very funny. It's the ones who are in their younger 20s, or mid 20s, something like that, maybe hitting 30, but they're talking about um because a lot of them will come and work with us PRN at the surgery center, and they'll work at the bigger hospitals. And so they'll see a lot of the different new physicians coming into the bigger hospitals. And they were having a discussion about, oh, this one's cute and this and that, and all of this, and pulling up pictures. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Show me this picture. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, well, if this one comes here, y'all, point in my way or whatever. And I was like, hey guys, ain't what it's cracked up to be. All right. Whole another ball game. You got no idea what you're getting yourself into.
Are you really ready for it?
Are you absolutely sure that's what you want?
We do have some amazing humans that we get to call husbands, though, and shout out to Dr. Landry. And I keep wanting to tag him on stuff. But the question is, will Scott Landry ever go on social media?
Hashtag Scott Landry will never have a Facebook.
Will he have an Instagram?
Scott has a back door to social media. So Scott has my social media connected to I've got an iPad that's kind of always sitting in the living room or whatever. So he'll get on through there, mostly Instagram, to follow food.
Yeah.
Different food things, different grilling or barbecue or chefs or things like that.
Because let's be honest, Dr. Landry he can cook a mean meal.
He's pretty talented. I mean, he's got that grill figured out. So we keep him around for good things like that.
A question that just popped into my head: what y'all's opinions on your girls in social media, and how have you handled it through this? It's been a big topic over here.
Yes, it's
second
that's tough. I don't, and that's part of the thing of like being super protective and whether I'm overprotective or what, because we just didn't have that. And everybody sees everything, and it's not going to go away. And it just is what it is. And trying to explain that to the girls and trying to explain that to them, like, once you put it out there, it's out there. And I try, even now with them being in high school, just saying, hey guys, if you want to go to college, if you want to be in a sorority, if you want to, get a job, if you want anything, like, we have a nurse that turns in a resume, and the first thing we do is look her up on Facebook or look him up on Facebook or look, I mean, it is what it is. That's just what you do. And so I've tried to tell, mine, like, and they don't do Facebook because that's not cool. That's for old people. But whether it's Instagram or the latest fight in the past year with Snapchat,
yeah,
because that's really hard to police. Instagram is a little bit easier to police and things like that. And there's some of them to where I will pull up, and I tell them, I follow you, I follow all your friends. Like, okay, call me a nerd, call me whatever you want, but like, if
they don't be involved,
if they don't want me to follow them, then there's obviously something they're posting that I probably shouldn't see, or that they probably shouldn't be posting. And it is what it is. And there's times where I'll see something that somebody posts, and I'm like, look at what she's wearing. Do you think that's appropriate? Kind of thing. You're like, seriously, mom? Like, for real?
Okay,
But
gave
it is
me another
hard.
good, like, you gave me another good introduction because I was going to ask you about it, and we touched on it a little bit last week with Megan. Like, how do you maintain good, healthy, like, body image, like, with the girls?
It's hard. It is very hard because it just because they are changing. Bodies are
Yeah.
changing. They are, they're growing up and, all of that. And it is hard. This was the summer where both poor Scott and my dad were like, what happened?
Yeah.
Where did
They
the
got
little
big.
girls go? Because they're not little girls anymore. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Um, and it is. And just we are generally pretty good about eating healthy. I mean, we have snacks and we have things like that, but generally pretty good about eating healthy and staying active. And they play soccer year round. They play club soccer, and then we have them play a sport a season at school. So they have a fall sport, a winter sport, and a spring sport, and they do something every year because I'm like, look, sports are obviously your thing. If sports weren't your thing, then I'm not going to force you to play a sport if you can't like stand on your own 2 feet. But you
Right.
obviously are athletic and you can play a sport, and so and I almost like to have another kind of adult checking in. Like there's a coach that, is working with them, is keeping tabs on them. And our
Well,
school
because
is,
the
is
reality of
small
the
enough.
situation, yeah, and again, interrupting here over here, but the reality of the situation is that, and I wanted to remember that point because a coach or a third party mentor is so key for those moments when they're not going to want to like check in with a parent. Like, let's
Yes,
say like
yes.
something's going to
Just
happen, but just to say that there is another not unbiased human being like looking out for my children, you know?
well, and somebody else that has eyes on them and all of their coaches know how to get in touch with me or can text me or call or whatever. And
Yeah.
or know me because I also am a substitute nurse at their school. So I'm at the school a ton. They can't get rid of me. As much as Amy and Allie want to get rid of me, it's not happening.
That's like
But
Granny
somebody
Terry.
else,
She was at the cafeteria every year of my school. Grammy. I don't think it was because she really liked regulators. I think she just liked to know what's going on. But I have actually
she wanted to
inherited
be in
that.
it.
I have inherited that characteristic. So
It
it
is a
works.
good one. It is a good one. Yeah, but somebody else that can just reach out and say, hey, something's not right. What's going on?
Yeah.
But they stay active with that. And I will say this, like they are more secure and feeling great about themselves than I think I ever was at 14. So
They're like,
shit,
bring down
more
those
power to
booty
you.
shorts.
I mean, well, exactly. And that's it. We've got a pile of Lululemon sitting on the coffee table in the living room, and they're like, "Can I wear them?" I'm like, "No, they're too short. No, I need to see about returning them." They're like, "Mom, they're the same shorts we have over here. Like, we just haven't stretched them out
Okay.
yet." I was like,
Tell them
"Geez."
Aunt Emily's gonna tell Mom and Uncle Scotty those Lulus they've got to stay because they're gonna have to get used to the progression of just the briefs or what we go
Just
into
the
later in
briefs
life.
to run in. I know. Oh my goodness. I know. It is. But they're way more secure and sure of themselves than I think I ever was at that age. It
And why
just
do you think it is? Because you struggled and made an effort to do it, or just it's the way things like naturally evolved? I don't have girls. I think I saw the ways I struggled and like how I would try to do things like somewhat different, but I have boys and like dealing with them, there's still identity issues, but it's not so much on image,
yeah.
like you said, even in like an all girls school.
I think it was so weird. I think I don't know, I was much more insecure than I think they are. And and just, wanted to be it, and wanted to please people, and wanted to be, a certain person, or whatever. And they are just kind of like, whatever.
So
I'm good.
what made you turn that corner to say, because you are right now, you're like, I'm good. You are that way
For
now.
the most part, I try. I mean, I
Right?
can't lie. I mean, I do have my moments of insecurity, but it comes to a point to where I'm like, you know what? It's really exhausting giving a shit what people think all the time.
It's
Like, it
exhausting
just,
giving a shit about what people think. That's why I give negative shits usually. Wait,
I
do
mean, it
we?
just,
That's too
I have
hard.
humans I'm trying to raise. I have, lives I'm trying to keep in the balance, and I got too many plates spinning to kind of care. I mean, I do. I'm a pleaser by nature, and I
Okay.
prefer to help
Pause.
people.
Pleaser by nature, helper. Have you done your Enneagram test?
Okay, no, that's the number thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't know that. I know I am a Taurus, and so I know I am super hard-headed, and I will completely agree with that. There's no arguing with that one.
Which is so funny because I love you so much. My ex-husband was a Taurus. So we'll leave it at that. But for all of those out there who can't see my face, um, I think you probably fall into the window of me, which is like an Enneagram 3, which is a strong personality, abrupt, and like know those things, but then it's a wing to a 2. You have to do the test, but the 2 is like the ultimate helper. So it's like someone who wants to control everything and help everyone. And it does become exhausting emotionally for those who live that life. Like for you and I, who are
Oh,
like, oh man, I
absolutely.
just have to like take a day to be like, holy moly, like what have I been doing, you know?
What have I done? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Because you want to control, like have the dinner, have everything set, like do the organization, do everything for the kids, and then help out anyone who needs it. But then at the end of the day, it's probably what Pilates has done for you, giving you your space to like do time for you.
Absolutely. To clear my head, or to get out of my own head, and just move, to just
Yeah.
have a movement experience, and just to kind of like breathe, and
Yeah.
take the time. And that's one of the reasons why I love giving that to other people, and doing that, and helping people to change their body, and knowing that it's one of those things that if you stick with it, and if you consistently do it and take care of yourself, you will see the progress, and you will see the change, and you will see it, you know, whether it's, a straighter spine, you maybe grow a quarter of an inch, or you have less pain in your back, or less pain in your joints, or your increased flexibility, or more abdominal strength, or any of those things, or just you're able to just have a complete thought.
I would, yeah,
You're
actually process a moment from start to finish, which in 2020,
exactly.
like, I feel like we used to take that for granted. No longer.
Oh my God, not at all.
Like to be able to just truly finish a thought. All right. When are you coming to see me next?
Ugh, we need to. I'm dying. We are. So rather than being able to come in October, we are taking 9 teenage girls to the beach. Yes,
One of them
9.
is going to get their first kiss. That's where I got it in
No,
Destin. Yeah, it's going to
no.
happen.
So we're going to Rosemary Beach, Seacrest, that area. So Amy and Allie's birthday was right at the start of school. It was like the first week of school. And we said, responsibly, we cannot do a birthday party and then something happened and it's like all these kids get sick and they can't start school and all of that. We were like, that's just not right. So, but their dad says, okay, well, I'll make it up to you. And they hold him to that. And, well, can we go to Rosemary Beach for fall break? Because they have a fall break where they're off the Friday and the Monday.
Are you going to have like 2 dueling minivans? How are you going to get everyone down there?
So Scott decided to rent a 15 passenger van. So this is like going to be a legit church trip. It's like the church group trip traveling to Rosemary Beach.
You can put it in the cross country category too, because that's what we were.
Okay, the cross country trip. Yes. It is the field trip to Rosemary Beach. And Amy and Allie were horrified with the fact of that because we're leaving from school on a Thursday afternoon. Like we're picking them all up from school and then going and coming back. And they were like, you cannot pull up to school in that thing. And I was like, look, we'll park the kidnapper van behind the gym. It'll be fine. Y'all all just walk behind the gym. Nobody will see. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the plan.
Uncle Scotty. That's awesome.
Yeah. Say some prayers for him. It'll be be good.
Are you going to take a turn driving or no?
No. I have no desire to drive, especially not at that time of night.
You need to be having your 9-ounce pour as co-captain, keeping all those kids in check.
Exactly. I'll be the keeper of the snacks. I'm really good at that.
You'll have them all ready.
I'll organize the snacks.
I have quick answer questions before we go.
Okay, what you got?
Oh, hold on. I have to finish one thing I wanted to make a note of. Okay. It's a yes or no for each one.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, it's not. You say your answer. Okay, here we go. Straight hair, curly hair.
It is straight every day, but I prefer it curly. But it's easy. I'm naturally super straight, so I'm the only one with straight hair in the house.
Yeah, I forgot about that when you are literally the only one with straight hair in your household.
Everybody, both the boys, both the girls, all got their daddy's curly hair. All of them.
And, I mean, again, Uncle Scotty has some good curly locks, right?
Laying that DNA on hard.
Give it to him. Are we doing conversations consistently with co-parenting or no? Good to keep the conversation. Good to keep the conversation consistent. Yes or no?
For us, we don't really have to any longer because the boys are older. Whenever they were little, I definitely kept the line of communication open. It was a very, very difficult situation between Scott and the boys' mom. And so it just worked out better for us if she and I spoke. And it was that worked out better for us. I mean, now I texted her and told her happy birthday for her birthday and, hope she had a good day and things like that. But we don't.
Do you get a response back?
Oh yeah. She'll text me back, or if I have a question or anything, she'll text me back. But it's very, with them both being graduated from college and on their own now and things like that, we really don't have to.
There's not a need for it.
Yeah, there's not really a need for it. I mean, I told her happy birthday and when it was her birthday, and then I think her dad had gotten sick and had surgery or something like that. And so I just texted her and said, "Hey, I spoke with the boys. They told me about your dad. Just wanted to let you know we were thinking of y'all and you know, and that." But it was nothing like there's no now once they get older, that's a lot easier. Our next hill to climb will be weddings
A
and
wedding.
grandbabies.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah. And no reason to get there yet, but you guys have gotten there. You've done the steps and kind of done the things which make it healthy. You're an inspiration
Yeah.
to me in that regard to, I think as you and I have talked about at length, it's just for all of our children to see that everyone loves them, everyone cares about them. And oh, by the way, you're not going to get away with anything because we still do communicate too.
Yeah. Yeah. You do have all of these parents on top of it. So
Lucky for you, you get 4 parents.
and yeah, and look, the girls, I mean the boys were not any different than the girls. And I tell the girls that all the time. I'm like, whatever you think you're gonna get away with, we've dealt with it with your brothers. Like
Yeah.
as much as I'm on top of you, I was on top of them. Like it is what it is. Nobody got away with anything, guys. Let's just be clear.
We know what's coming.
Well, yeah, and then you got, Scott's like, when I was 15, I was going to the French Quarter and I was, taking 14-year-old girls to bars. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, come on now.
Okay, we're gonna close off on that question. How old will Amy and Allie be when they're allowed to go down to Mardi Gras solo?
Oh God, no. Never. I plan to like vacation every Mardi Gras until they go away to college and don't have any interest in going to Mardi Gras. Like, not no, but hell no. They have already, their game plan is that their birthday is August 21st. So they know that their golden birthday, they will turn 21 on the 21st. So they've already planned a trip to Vegas. They're like, oh, we are going to Vegas for our 21st birthday because it's our golden birthday and we're turning 21 on the 21st and we're going to Vegas.
Count Auntie Emily in.
So you're in. I'm going to need some co-chaperones for the 21-year-old party in Vegas. There you go. It is what it is.
Love it. Hey, and I mean, you can't blame them. They get their travel planning from us. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
Vegas exists in that year. That's all.
In that year, yeah. I know.
All right. Did you finish your 9-ounce pour?
I am like last sip. Yep.
Last sip. All right. Love you.
Love you. Cheers.
Cheers so much, Nat. And hopefully we can all be together soon. Thank you.
Yes, please.
To you and your husband for what you guys have been through in this year. And we'll just keep.
And maybe y'all just have to come here. Are the Niners playing are they playing the Saints in New Orleans this year again? I don't know. We'll have to look at the schedule. Maybe you guys will just have to come here for that. We have a good we have a good bar we know we can go to. So
yeah. We got the hookup.
We are always good on
Roddy White, if you're listening, send us some tickets.
And we're always good on people's Instagram stories. So
yeah. I love a good Instagram live. 16 champagne deep.
Look, we will always forever be known as Who Dat White Girl.
Who Dat? Oh, I can't believe I just said that. I got to do it with a rise up. We'll end it with a rise up. All right. Love you, sweet friends.
Love you. Good night. Talk to you
Cheers.
soon. Cheers. Bye.